What's going on, YouTube? Claic Yuzolt back again with another Final Fantasy Brave Exvius banner review, and today we have Octopath Traveller. I know there are a lot of people out there who are looking really forward to this, and some people may still be on the fence about it, so I'm hoping to give you guys the information you need so you know how do these units work, if they're worth your time, if they're worth your cash and your lapis. So let's get into it. Alright guys, so as you can see, Octopath Traveller is here, and do remember this is a limited time banner, meaning you can only get them now, and then hopefully maybe get a Prism in the shop later. So we have a 3-star base in Tressa, we have a 4-star base in Therion, and we have 2 5-star bases in the Dancer Support Primrose, and the awesome tank Olberic. That sprite is amazing, alright? So first off, we're going to go ahead and look at Tressa. Now, Tressa doesn't really have much to offer. We're going to look at TMR here, which is going to be increase attack and magic 20%, increase experience 25%. And it's not really something I see a lot of people using. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's a big part of Final Fantasy Brave Exvius out there still grinding those experience vortexes. But for the most part, I think we are, reigning in Cactuar at this point. The average player with all the raids or the different coin exchanges, the elemental battles as we've had. So I don't really see this as a TMR you guys want to farm too much. And also looking at her abilities, there's nothing too crazy here you need to look out for. So that's pretty much all for Tressa. Poor Tressa, dude. Therion's a little bit different because he's a thief. He's going to be a 4-star going up to 6-star, and he's going to have a great TMR that's been upgraded a bit here. It's going to be an accessory, and you think, attack 12, defense 26, oh my god, how was that amazing? Well, we do have a physical evasion chance of 25%, and this is a big chance for you guys to get a hold of a fat physical evasion TMR when maybe you missed the other ones in the past, which were like Ring of the Lucii, and then also Rico's TMR, which I can't even protect grappler or something like that. So it's going to be your chance to get that, along with being able to decrease chance of being targeted. Again, as long as you have 100% provoke the decreased chance of being targeted. I don't know if you guys have heard me talk about this. It will check your provoke chance before it checks the chance of being decreased chance of being targeted. So you're going to be fine with that, so you're going to be okay there. Again, I don't think there's anything too amazing about looking over Therion's kit. Sadly, I know there are a lot of Therion fans out there, but you are going to be able to take Therion's Scarf and put it to good use, which I think is pretty good. Next up, we have the lovely Dancer Beauty Extraordinaire Primrose, 5-star base going to 7-star buffer, and she's going to be more of an attack buffer in my opinion. We have a lot of great buffers out there, a lot of great supporters, but we're going to look at Primrose here as more of a, I want my team to be doing a lot more offense, and I got a little defense to back them up, but more so I'm here for the offense. We're looking on down here, we do have Primrose's necklace. It is going to be a defense 16, spirit 40, nullifying petrify, and also giving Primrose's necklace, which is 40% spirit. Now, this is no bad TMR at all. I mean, you're getting a fat, flat stat of 40 spirit plus petrification nullification. Yeah, it rhymed. And then we have Primrose's necklace there with 40% on that. I don't think it's too bad, but again, I love elemental resist, dude. I am an elemental resist fanatic. So if you're unlike me and you think this is fine, it's something you're going to be okay with, maybe use on something you don't need elemental resist on your entire team, this will be great for you. Moving on down to the STMR, did get a little bit of an upgrade. We have increased magic by 30% and spirit by 60%, also adding in ignore fatal damage 100%, so giving you guts when HP is above 20%. It only happens once, but again, you got the re-raise, you kill somebody off, they, this happens, they don't die, they withstand it, then they die, they re-raise, this procs again, so you guys are going to be able to, it's very nice to have, but nothing you absolutely need. I think you'd get a lot of use out of it, but it's not game breaking, you know what I mean? So no reason to be chasing the STMR train on at least Primrose. Looking on through her abilities, she did get the ability to, she has the ability to double cast, so I want to make that clear. When we go through here, she can double cast these abilities, and I do believe she has triple cast unlocking through Bewitching Dancer. So we're going to look up and look for Bewitching Dancer, which is going to be if she has her TMR or STMR equipped, she is going to get triple cast. So we're going to work on the notion that she has triple cast for these abilities. So if you look, she doesn't get triple cast for everything. It's more for just her offensive abilities, okay? Which is something that I really wish they would have just given her triple cast on all of her abilities. Now I know that would have been insane. Hold up a minute. But she's going to be able to chain with Chaos Wave. She's going to be able to do a lot of dark damage while decreasing dark resist, if you can see through these different abilities. And then she has upgraded abilities down here as well to do a little bit more dark damage with a little bit more dark resist imperiling. She also has a break she can do down here as well when she activates Abyssal Ode. which we'll talk about in a minute. But I wanted to shout out that her triple cast isn't for her, like, she's not really, again, for the support. This is going to be for her offensive abilities. Her support abilities are going to be the W cast. Now, looking over her support abilities, we have Snake Dance here. Heal 2000 HP, 10 times split over 3 turns to all allies. Refresh MP, so she has an HP and MP refresh, and she has an LB fill rate up. And then we move down to her, like, dancage, right? So she reminds me a little, you know what I mean? It's just the dancing part, never mind, Soleil. But she really works on one stat at a time, and then she can also double cast it. She can work on 2 at a time, but you have to do 2 different dances, right? So we have increased defense 130% for 3 turns to all allies. Also putting up our dragon killers by 20%, both magic and physical. She has attack up 130%, and that's going to be for beast killer. She has magic 130% for fairies, and then she has increased spirit 130%, and that's going to be for plants. So as you can see, you can already see, yes, she has her own chance to be able to buff defense and spirit, but it also tags onto their offensive capabilities. So again, I believe her to be an offensive support unit. Now we look at, she has Dawn Ode. That's going to be increased dark resist by 80% for 3 turns of allies. That's a great dark resist up if you need that. And she also has general damage mitigation right here, 20%, which isn't bad at all, right? I don't think that's a bad thing to be working with. Moving on down, we do have a new cooldown ability. This is going to be different than JP, at least from what I remember. JP players, please correct me if I'm wrong. Available in turn 1, 5-turn cooldown. This is going to be a random use, which is never the best, but let's give it a chance. Let's read it over. Increase LB gauge 20 to all allies. That's pretty good. Completely recovered. Restore HP and MP 100% to all allies. Well, I mean, if that happens, that's great. You feel a boost of strength. Increase attack, defense, magic, and spirit by 180 for 5 turns. Phenomenal. Mitigate damage taken 50% for 5 turns to all allies. Nice. And a monster was summoned forth, exploiting fix. Magic damage with spirit scaling 16 times to all enemies. Now, the problem with this, while these are all great, these 4 right here are phenomenal. Most of the time you're going to want them, but if you don't really need the heal, you don't really want this one to proc. If everybody has their LBs, which most guys they won't, so this is a pretty solid one. I think this is another solid one, 180. That's pretty high for 5 turns. This is a solid one. And again, if you're down at all, you might be okay with using this one as well. I think this is the one where we kind of miss out, right? If we hit this as a support unit, it's going to kind of suck. But it's not like she can still double cast it. So I really think you might want to take the chance on this. Mitigate damage 50% for 5 turns. Sign me up. 180% to all stats. Yes. LB gauge, filling it up. Some people are almost full when you do 20. So I don't want to completely dump on this because a lot of these options I'm okay to have happen. The only one that's kind of like, I don't know, is this one right here. Because the 180 is more than 130. She does get, like, better dances. We'll look down below after she uses Abyssal Ode, and we'll look at those for a minute. But I actually kind of like this random ability. I know, it's kind of weird. But most of them you're going to be okay with. And if you save it for when maybe you do need HP and MP, and then you pop this bad boy off, you might be happy with every result, in my opinion, except for this one. This is 20% of the time you ain't going to be happy about it, but that's okay. Moving down to Abyssal Ode, available in turn 1, 7-turn cooldown. Increase in attack and magic 180% for 5 turns to all allies. You're getting a big 180% buff to your 2 offensive stats. Again, offensive support. Enable for 6 turns of caster. We get all these plus dances we're going to have to look into. Mitigate damage taken 40% for 5 turns to all allies. Again, so this is a 5-turn with a 7-turn cooldown. It's going to be almost up all the time. I think it's going to be like 2 turns, it's going to be down, something like that. So you're going to be, that's general mitigation. So you compare that again. I know I keep saying this, and you guys are probably like, oh, we know, Claic, but maybe some people didn't know that. Mitigate damage stacks with physical mitigation. So if it says mitigate physical damage, and also stacks with magic mitigation, okay? And also, if you guard, that's even more mitigation that stacks on top. You can't cast a spell like an LB from a tank that's like, mitigate damage taken 50%. You can't stack it with this 40%. The higher one will take over, just like the highest buff will take over, like attack and magic, for example. So that's pretty great. And she also has a big fat MP recovery here on this spell, which is phenomenal. You definitely want to be casting that. She also has Wolf Dance, which is going to be something that is going to help you guys, again, if you guys are looking to imbue. She's going to be able to do that and dual cast it now. Add Dark Element to physical attacks for 5 turns to 1 ally, so you can be like, boop, boop, both chainers. Increase LB gauge 5 to 1 ally, so you're also going to be able to put up their LB. On top of that, again, remember, she can imperil. She can imperil Dark, so she's your imperiler and your imbuer all in one. Great stuff. Looking through her passives here, we're not going to get too much into the magic, spirit, MP, stuff like that. Resist the sleep. We get some dark resist. She does have a chance to counter with Vengeful Heart, 30% to each of the 2 different kinds. Let's look at Vengeful Heart. Decreased Dark Resist 60%. So again, offensive support here. Looking out pretty good there. Resist to Paralyze, Resist to Charm. Phenomenal. We want those. Sleep is okay. You know, you never want to go to sleep, but sleep is just so rarely used. It's like, and it doesn't take away your turn, right? You're asleep, you wake up, you're good to go. So it's not too... It kind of makes you have to be able to use something to get rid of sleep, but it's not like detrimental like, you know, Confuse would be, or, you know, all that kind of stuff. So, Charm. I wish she has Charm Resist. She does have the TMR, STMR equipped. Bewitching Dancer, increased Spirit HP 30%. Chance to counter with Bewitching Dancer, 40% on each of these. And then, as we said, enables Twilight Dance, but sadly that triple cast is really only for her, you know, offensive capabilities as this offensive support. Moving on down to Bewitching Cast, so we need to find what that is. Or Bewitching Dancer, excuse me. Inflict Charm 20% for 2 turns to all enemies. So she has the chance to spark that charm, and a lot of the bosses can't be charmed, so maybe that pops off for you. It doesn't seem like the best TMR, STMR ability in the world for me. I mean, she is going to get survivability here with the Spirit and HP, so you probably want to end up running it, plus her TMR and STMR are phenomenal anyway. It's just not... I get what they're doing with the whole dancing and adding charm thing, but like, it's kind of jank, you know what I mean? It's like not the most useful thing in the world. I would have been better off giving her something else. And then we look at Twilight Dance. While it's, you know, it's pretty cool here. If I hit filter, it changes it, right? Yeah. Well, it's pretty cool here to be able to Chaos Wave Chain and have fun and do Dark Resist down and, you know, do some more dark damage. It's really just kind of a gag, right? Like, maybe some people out there will prove me wrong. Hey, maybe your dancer here, Primrose, is going to be popping off with a lot of damage, but for me, I would kind of wish it was something else. Then we have Magic 20%. We have more stats up, increased LB 5 per turn, so your LB is going up. Increased Dark Resist 30%, so I do believe she has 50% Dark Resist. Yep, 50% there. And decreased MP used by 20%. These are all great things for a support unit. If we look down through the dances, again, she does get a lot of her dances improved after using Abyssal Ode. And we can see that the Dark Resist goes up to 80% for 5 turns, mitigate damage 30% for 5 turns, and she has a 40% one like we talked about, but that's on a CD, so this is going to be non-CD. Moving on down through these, her buffs go up to 160, so all these separate buffs we can dual cast here. They go up 30%, and then also their killer abilities are up by 20 more percent. So you know, this is great. If you're going in there to one-shot something, or you're going in there, you just want to do damage, you ain't got to worry about being too defensive, or you have somebody else to handle that. You know, Primrose might be the option for you. Looking at her limit burst, it's actually really great. Look at this thing. Increase attack, defense, magic, spirit, 200% for 5 turns to all allies. Are you kidding me? On top of that, we get a big heal, a big MP refresh, and increase LB gauge 6 to all allies except for herself. You know, it's not too bad on the LB cost, and she also gets a lot. She gets the ability to get LB every turn 5, which is that's pretty good, just on her own. So great LB. So all in all, you know, obviously Primrose is a pretty cool support unit. However, we have this thing in Global called Sylvie, and you looked at Primrose, what did you see missing? We're missing some elemental resistances. She does have general damage mitigation, but a lot of our tanks are bringing that now to our party. I'm not saying it's overlooked, but hey, there are other options. So it's actually, in my opinion, I kind of want Sylvie's physical and magic mitigation to go along with that mitigation my tanks are bringing, but all party comps are different. She's more of offensive, right? If you want to get in there, you want to buff up your team to be kicking some ass, doing more damage, Primrose is going to be the option for you. All right, guys. A tough one for me. We're going to review Olberic here. 5-star base going up to 7-star. It says swordsman, but he's a tanky beast himself. I think his sprite is phenomenal. I just love it so much. I'm using the word phenomenal a little bit too much in this review, so maybe I should stop. Phenomena. Okay, I'm done. Gonna be a tank, like I said, a tank attacker, honestly. TMR is Wandering Warrior. Increase HP 40%, defense and spirit 20%, and increase resist to paralysis or paralyzed by 100%. Now, again, I think this is great, and this goes for Primrose's TMR too, if you are interested in it. Remember your TMR Moogles. These are limited time units, but they do come with a raid, like most limited time units do. So you're gonna be able to go in there and get one of those Moogles and put it into your prism. Bada bing, bada boom, you can get Wandering Warrior, and I think it's actually worth it for those prisms. I get that question all the time. Here's your answer. It's a very strong for, you know, pretty much anybody out there where you need that paralysis resist. It gives you those tanky stats on top of it. Maybe for an attacker, you know, you're going to find another option that gives you more offensive capabilities, but maybe you need to look to this for a little bit more survivability. I think it's a great, very useful variety-wise TMR there. And looking at his STMR, we have Olberic Surcoat, HP 1000, defense 62, spirit 55. We'll get Olberic Surcoat as the passive, increases HP 10%, attack and defense 20%. I honestly, this is, It's pretty good, right? Big fat HP stat on there. But again, it's not insane. Him and Primrose, this is actually, it's crazy to me that they didn't design these STMRs to be out of this world because they are limited. So it makes people chase harder because, you know, hey, if you ain't using an STMR ticket on it, you ain't pulling one out of your EX tickets down the road, you know, like later on, you're not getting some Olberic on a random ticket. So it's weird to me that they weren't designed to be out of this world. But hey, it's good for us, right? We ain't got to be chasing these things. But if you get it, again, it's definitely, you know, it's an STMR quality item. So there you go. So you may be wondering why it pains me to review Olberic. I loved Olberic, Octopath Traveller. He was the first guy I picked. He's definitely a character I like. You guys know I love tanks. However, we're going to go over his kit here. Olberic is a very good physical tank. If you're out there looking for a physical tank, you don't have Wilhelm, you don't have Sieghard, you know, you don't have all the other options, Merkroms, all these other options we have in the game right now. You know, he's a good option for you if you love Olberic, like I do. I love him, but I'm going to have to let him go because there's going to be a new sheriff in town with Galuf coming on down the line, I'd say within a month at least, and he is actually much better than Galuf in my opinion, or excuse me, much better than Olberic in my opinion. And then yes, 3 to 4 to 5 months, whenever they release it in Global, CG Warrior Elite will hit the scene and he will dominate. And the upgrade from, like, let's say Wilhelm, Sieghard, honestly Sieghard's the best one, to Olberic isn't massive. So you really can save your Lapis, save your time and effort into these units if you don't love Olberic, if you don't love tanks, if you don't want a variety of physical tanks, because those other tanks I talked about will carry you. And that was kind of like overlooking all his abilities there, but I just had to get it off my chest, man. It's tough for me to move past this. We're going to use tickets, hope for some Olberic. Probably won't get him, though. I'm not very lucky on tickets lately. But he does have the general things you want in a tank. He has an AoE cover to protect you from physical attacks. He has a 100% provoke where he can pull you in. He does have some defense scaling physical attacks where he can go in and actually do some damage. He can chain it up with A-Rain. This is based off his defense scaling, so he can actually get in there and beat up a little bit. Now, he's not going to be as good as your offensive options, your attackers, your chainers, but he can add that special... how much I put this? He can add that chaining and that damage. It's just it's not the littlest in the world, but it's not the most on his off turns because he does have a long turn cover. For example, this is a 5-turn cover here, and if we look at his LB, I'm kind of jumping all over the place. But it's going to be 3 turns here. So he's going to have the option of getting it in his LB and with his cast. His LB is giving us 40% damage mitigation. So this is his LB. We'll just go ahead and get it out of the way. He has his chance to cover physical damage. So he has his cover there for 3 turns. Then he also has general damage mitigation 40%. So it's similar to that CD we just talked about with Primrose. A lot of units are having this now. Sieghard, CG Charlotte, and it's on his LB and it's only 20. So it's really not that much to get. So you're going to be able to kind of like wrap this in. You're always going to want to have this up if you don't have somebody else casting the 40% damage mitigation, but he kind of has turns opened up to him, right? Moving on down through this, he has a cooldown ability, hard fight, got a little bit of changes. I think he's used to increase attack actually, but now, you know, it's a turn 1, 5-turn cooldown, increase defense 200% for 4 turns, refresh MP 240%, enable skills for 4 turns. He's going to get plus skills as well. This is playing off of the whole Octopath Traveller system, and he increases wind and earth resist 3 turns while allies. So that's a reason to have him, right? You have this tank that comes in, and he can actually put up your wind and earth resist by 65%. That's pretty high. Now, if you got a Sylvie, you got a Marie, there are other people that can do this as well, but, you know, we're trying to condense this into our team. Maybe we don't got to take Sylvie this time. Highly unlikely, but there you go. There are a lot of things about his kit that are a little bit weird. They seem a little bit dated. We have the Stout Wall available in turn 1. Increased defense 200% again. He's going to get super tanky. Heal HP 25,000 split over 5 turns and enables cover plus. But the problem with that is most turns on turn 1, you either want to cast provoke or cover. I don't see a dual cast yet. Maybe we'll find one here at the bottom, but it's going to be like you're going to have to cast cover and then be worried about unlocking these other abilities. You're not going to be able to cast them on turn 1. I think he should have a W cast. Maybe he'll unlock one down here. Let me look. Nope. I think he should have like a W cast. I don't see what's the problem with that. So we look down through here. He does have an automated heal every turn. He does have defensive stats when he has a light shield or a heavy shield, so you can use both. He has resist to sleep, confuse, petrify. Great. He does need paralysis resist, but hey, we'll get that somewhere. Is that in his TMR actually? Let's go take a look. I think I said that. Hey, there you go. So he has TMR on. You got 3. 3 of them knocked out. Bada bing, bada boom. Done. We do have the ability to, he's going to put up let me scroll down. I was like, what do you mean you're putting up your LV? It doesn't make any sense. He does have the innate 50% targeted, which is great, but in the future, with Galuf, we're going to be seeing that increased chance to being targeted and CG Warrior of Light going up to 80%. That's what I'm talking about. Olberic seems like a tank they designed. He's good. Don't get me wrong. He's fantastic. But he's still not that much better, in my opinion, than somebody like Sieghard. When you get to the 80% chance of being targeted, you just throw 20% innate provoke on him from some item, right? You don't have to throw 2 on him to get to 50%. You throw 1 on. And then they have all these other options open, and they're constantly provoking. You never have to cast provoke. If you get re-raised, they come back. It's opening up more materia slots, and that's where we're going to come into Galuf or CG Warrior of Light. So, Olberic, oh no. Increases defense when put with a light armor. Heavy armor is not here. And if we look up here, I do believe this is light armor. Yeah, it's a light armor on his STMR there. It's not a heavy armor. So kind of like playing into his whole, like, I'm a brawler. I'm a tanky, but I'm also an attack person. Heavy armor, yeah, it's going to weigh me down. I got to swing in. Looking if he has TMR, STMR equipped, we get fat stats there with 50%. Increased defense in spirit 160% when HP drops below 40%, so he gets that nice buff up. And, that's actually pretty substantial there. Chance to ignore physical fatal damage 100% when HP is above 1% max 1 time, so he's not going to die, which is phenomenal, right? I mean, God, I said it again. Guys, you guys go say it in the comments now. Hey, can you stop saying phenomenal? He can ignore that fatal damage. That's insane for a tank, right? Oh no, it's popping off. He's going to die. I need to have re-raise on him. Well, at least one of those times, he's going to live. 100%, and if his HP is above 1%, which, God, I hope so, before he starts getting smacked, he's going to be fine. MP 20% up, and as we go down, he does have the 60% chance for both of them to do protecting those in need. So looking down at protecting those in need, gives himself a 40% damage mitigation for 1 turn. So it appears that, like, most of the time, this is going to be proccing, all right? If he's drawing attacks or he's covering, this should be proccing max 1 turn, and he's going to give himself 40% damage mitigation. And I think this is where he kind of a little bit pulls himself away from the pack. He is always going to have damage mitigation up. It seems like, right, the general mitigation, don't even have to cast it on him. He can cast it on himself. He has really good stats as well. It's not like he doesn't get a little bit of a buff, but the problem with him, I'm talking to myself here and I'm talking to you guys at the same time. I'm trying to talk myself out of it. He's not that big of an upgrade. Just wait. Galuf's down the road. CG Warrior Light's down the road. Come on, man. He has level / cross strike and Spearhead Plus coming in here. They're going to be more of the, he does have an AoE, 60% break, but you do have to cast his hard fight and then cast this off. He does, again, defense scaling, with the physical damage. He can decrease wind and earth resist by 80% with his A-Ray chain. Yay, but you have that the Spearhead Plus going on. And then he has cover plus, 5 turns. So if you have, that's what I'm talking about. Like, he does get to that 5 turns, physical damage 80% of the time, 60-80% mitigation. This is the norm. So at this point, so no worries about that. And we talked about his LB. So Olberic, dude. Oh, it's so tough for me to turn away. I'd never thought, I had this guy on my sights from the beginning, but I'm trying to be a little bit more smart with my FFBE playing and understand that there is going to be a huge upgrade to tanks soon, and they should have given him more of an upgrade to maybe some of his passive abilities, like his passive provoke, kind of put him in line with what Galuf's about to bring, because I don't know if that sweet sprite is enough to pull me over. So, guys, we are done with the review. As you can tell, I am pretty fighting with myself on Olberic, but I do believe this is a giant skip. It's the joke, Octopath. Unless you're a huge Octopath lover, and I'm talking about you got to be super pumped about these units, and you're going to use them for a while. You don't care about Galuf. 4 to 5 months, that's fine with you. Olberic's taken over. And you think that's good enough for you to upgrade from your Sieghard or your Wilhelm, go for him. Primrose is going to be more of your attack-based support unit. You can definitely do without her, in my opinion. You want to be using that Lapis or those UOCs, things like that, going towards Sylvie. Sylvie is going to be I think Global made a mistake releasing Sylvie. Honest to God, we talked about that. She is going to be the mainstay. You got CG Nickel even with his upgrades and things like that. He is going to be there. I would want to use him more than Primrose. That's just me, though. We do have some nice TMRs with Tyrion, though, or one TMR there with Tyrion, so that's your option there if you want to go for the 4-star. Grab up that 25% evasion so you guys can be using it in the future. Because Galuf, again, I know I keep talking about these tanks, but Galuf even comes with 10% physical evasion, I do believe, in his kit. So it's just a little bit closer to getting that 100%. So hope you guys, all the Octopath Traveller fans out there, I really wish they would have gotten buffed a little bit more. Primrose did get buffed up, I would say, quite a bit. They worked on her a little bit more than Olberic, but it still wasn't enough for me to be telling you guys to pull for him. So if you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up. Comment down below about Octopath Traveller, and if I should just pull for Olberic. Hey, talk me into it, dude. Tell me why I should. Galuf Schmaluf. Olberic's the man. and then subscribe for future content. We'll catch you guys in the next video.